Hi. So in the last video we built this front end for the storage application, and in this video we will build the backend for this. Let me first close the front end and go to my console. So I will create a folder for my backend. Make directory, let's say storage backend, and if I go to that folder, so we'll create our backend with NestJS. So NestJS, it's a Node.js framework to build server-side applications, and you can install NestJS CLI globally. I think I already installed it. If I type nest, so I already have this NestJS CLI. What I need to do is to say nest new and give it a folder name, but for me it will be this folder, current folder, and I will just give it dot. It will be create new project in this folder. I will use npm, and it's creating me all configuration files, and it's creating me everything I need. So let's go to our diagram and see what we're going to do for our backend. So we have two main modules. It's auth module and files module, and I think I will start creating these modules, files, routes. Let's look into our so let's open it in our text editor. Run this NestJS application, we need to run npm run start dev. It started, and it's not showing which port this application started. So here we can see it's taking the port environment variable. If there is no port environment variable, so it will start on 3000. Let's look at our application at port 3000. So it's working. Okay, now let's create two different modules. One is called auth module, and we have auth.module module.ts. So in NestJS you create module by creating file called auth.module.ts, and here we can use decorator called module, and inside that module we can define everything. I will explain what does that mean in a minute. Let me install the module from NestJS. So module decorator basically adds all functionality to your class and making it a NestJS, more correct NestJS module. So here we have 4 different arrays inside this module. It's imports, controllers, providers, also exports. So let me first explain what all of this means. Imports means you importing inside this module. Controller, it's a class that will receive your API requests. Providers, it's your providers like services, repositories that you're doing the logic inside. Exports, it's you need to provide here anything that you want to export from this component to other components. So let's also create controller and service here, auth.controller and also auth.service.ts. So inside the controller we will use controller decorator, export export class out controller. Yeah, let's remove this for now, and let's go to our service and also create here export class our service. So for the providers, we have to add injectable decorator to it, so they can be injected to other classes. It's how NestJS works. And now we have our service, and we can come and inject it here, and I want to call it just service. Okay, so now inside the module we can import this both, and we need to import this module inside app module. So the app module is our base module. Every module should be installed inside app module. So here we can say we can import host module here. Yeah. Okay, let's also create another folder called files, and inside files we will have the same structure, files module. It will be module imports. Yeah, and also we'll have files controller ts, and also we'll have files dot service dot ts. Let's use controller like this, files controller service, file service, injectable export file service. Inside the controller we import this file service. Inside the module we import all necessary files, files controller, file service, and it says we don't have exports and imports yet, and also this is wrong. It should be NestJS common. Okay, now inside app module we can also import our files module. Okay, so we created two different modules, house module, files module, and we will create all necessary files and functionality inside this each module, so it will be very easy for us to understand. Let's go ahead and create two different roads here. So how in NestJS we can create roads? It's so easy. You can use post decorator for creating a post, and also any other decorator, so get, put, patch, delete, and it will be sign up. Another endpoint will be sign in. Okay, so how this will work? So this basically NestJS creates a road with auth, what you provided in your controller, and after that it takes the string inside the decorator with sign up and sign in. So in this controller we will have two different rows, sign up and sign in. So this is how this works. And let's say we have auth detour. So detour is a data transfer object. You can use detour if you wanna validate your requests. So that's what I'm going to do here. I can create the tools folder, and here I can create a file called auth.detour.ts, and here I need auth.detour. Yeah, I will have email, password, and I can install it here. Yeah, for now I don't have this body. So this body also from NestJS. So this body takes a body field from request, and you will see how this works. Okay, let's come to our service and create two different methods, one called sign up, one called sign in, and this also will accept all of the two. And let's for now just log this, sign up the two, and also here, and inside the controller we can call sign up and sign in. Also what we can provide here, we can say HTTP code 200 status, HTTP status OK. It will be the same thing for this one, two services. And we also have to come here and add the prefix. So in every API there is have prefix, something like API. I mean, you can not use that, but it's a best practice to use it. So we add set global prefix API. Also we can add pipes. The pipe, I'll explain pipes in a little bit. So pipes are helping us to validate our requests. And let's see. Let me just return from here something. Return sign up and sign in controller. Okay. Okay, now it started. Also let me add console log here, server running on port. Also want to take port in a different variable. So okay, server running on port 8000. So let's see, is it running? Yes. So now we basically have two different routes. It will be API, auth, and sign up. It says not found. Oh, okay. Yeah, so it says cannot get because we don't have get. So we can test this with our front end or some tool like Postman. Okay, let's now configure our database. Let's go to Prisma. So we're going to use Prisma for that. And let's quick start. Okay. Let's npm install Prisma, save dev. And we can say npx Prisma px Prisma init. Okay, so our Prisma initialized. Let's go to our Prisma. Yeah, so we also have to install this Prisma client. Okay. Now let's so create our models. In Prisma, you're creating your models by just writing model and the model name. So what fields do we have? ID, email, password, files created at. So ID, it will be string, email, password created at, and we have files. It will be file model, and the file model will be like this. ID name, type, path, ID name, path, type, path, size created at user. So we don't update that. We have to have user relation, so it will be file many to one relation. So we have one user who can have many files, but for the file it should belong to only one user. Yeah, so we created our models. Now let's install Postgres locally. So Postgres Docker Hub. So you can install Postgres locally to your local Docker, so it's easy for development purpose. So I want to install 16, maybe 16 Alpine. Let's say Docker run Postgres 16 Alpine. It will be name storage DB, and we also have few environment variables here that we can use, like Postgres password, environment, Postgres password, Postgres, let's say, and what else? Postgres user Postgres, and we also can define Postgres DB as storage DB. Okay, so name will be storage DB, it's a name of the container. Environment variable Postgres password will be Postgres user will be Postgres database will be storage DB, and it will use image called Postgres 16 Alpine. And also I forget one thing, I have to run it in a background, so I need to add flag -d. Let's run it and let's see, did it run? So we can check it by docker ps, and yeah, it's running. And file, so it's here, can remove it. Yeah, we have database URL like this, and it should be defined here. Yeah, so I forget to give a port to Postgres database. Let me stop this container and run it again. This time we need to give it a port 5432. On this it will work, and let's say okay. Yeah, now it is in my localhost 5432. So now we can give 5432. So let's put it here. So I'm using PostgreSQL, my username Postgres, password Postgres. It's running on localhost 5432, and it's called storage DB. Schema will be public. Yeah, so now if I, let's say, NestJS Prisma, how I can configure Prisma. Okay, I can create folder called lib, and I can here create new file called prisma.service.ts. It will be injectable Prisma service. It will extend Prisma client, and on module init it will connect. So we don't have output, we have a provider Prisma client JS. So you have to put it like this to work with a package Prisma client. And if we reload our window, I assume it will be fine. Yeah. So now we can add this Prisma service inside our app module, so it will be global and we can use it anywhere in our, let's say, npm start dev. Yeah, so issue was the Prisma config. We didn't import .env config file, and it didn't see the database URL environment variable. So now when we import it like this, it can see it. And when we run npx prisma migrate dev init, enter the name of the migration, we can say init, and yeah, it created our migration, it connected to our database, and now if we run npm run start dev, it will run and it will connect to our database. Okay, so let's go to our auth and create a repository file. So inside the repository we can work with a database. Repository.ts, and it should be injectable auth repository, and here we need to define what exactly we want. Okay, so we have a create user method, and we need find by email method, and let's say find by ID. Yeah, we need these three methods to create a user, to find user by email when we sign in, and find by ID. And I will show you where we will use them. So to use this repository, we need to add inside the providers, let's say auth repository, and now we can use it in our service. So we can say private read-only repository auth repository. And did we add injectable? Yes, we did add injectable. So we have an error. Prisma service is exported from separate module. That module, yeah. Okay, so we also need here add Prisma service, and it will work fine now. I already prepared the sign up and sign in functions. Let me explain what it does. Basically, it gets email, password, and trying to find existing user. So if it's find, it's just throwing an error because it cannot create new user. And if user doesn't exist, so it creates the hash for the password and so it creates your hashed password, because we cannot save your password directly in our database, so we need to save hash. And after creating new user with the email and hashed password, and after that we are creating JWT token, so we will send only one JWT token to the client, and the client later will send us it back with each request. Yeah, so basically what this sign up function does. Also sign in function does the similar thing. Only thing is we already have user and we need to find that user. If that user doesn't exist, we throw unauthorized error, and we also compare the password. If the password doesn't match, we also throw an error, unauthorized error. And if everything is good, we are creating GW token again and sending it to the front end so user can log in and send us this JW token with each request. So also we need to look into the NestJS JWT auth. NestJS have documentation for authentication, and here we can look into how NestJS suggests to do it. So basically install this nest JWT. Also, let me see what else we need to install. And we can inject that JWT service from nest JWT. And So it helps us to create access token with the user information. So also we need few more things. So we need NestJS passport. Yeah, let's go to documentation and check what else we need. Yeah, so we need NestJS passport, we need passport JWT, and we need only passport. These libraries help us do the token validations. So if we search NestJS JWT authentication passport, yeah, so the Google actually gives us the response with Gemini AI. So we can do this. Yeah, so what we need to do, we need to import this passport module, GVT module, and after we also have to have GVT strategy. So what is GVT strategy? Basically, this is what checks your JW2 token. If it is not correct, so it throws an error. And also we have JW2 auth guard that we can use on our routes. Example, if we have files route, we can use this guard to wrap that route and no one can access that route without JWT token. Docker start storage db. Okay, let's check. Yeah, now it started, and now if we run the yeah, we can say it will expire in 1 hour. So I think we are done with the auth, and now we can move to files. But first, let me explain one more time what we did here. So we basically have two routes. It's sign up and sign in, and it calls sign. So sign up calls sign up function from service, and what it does, it's basically creates the user, and the sign in function also checks the user and creates the JWT token and sends back. So this allows the user save JWT token and use it for other routes. Now let's look into the files. First, let's create files repository. Here we'll have injectable files repository. We'll have we will have 4 routes. It's get files, get by ID, create and delete file, Prisma. Okay, yeah. So and also we need to go and add this to providers. So how we going to upload the files? We will use NestJS and Multipart. So we will have storage service where I already did it, where we will upload the file and also configure our S3 bucket. So yeah, we need package called AWS SDK client S3. Also, we need package called NestJS Platform Express to accept files. So let's install them. Yeah, so we need also types here. I already have types. What kind of types we will use? Okay. Yes. Reload. Repository. Okay. Now, so how many rows do we need here? Let me delete these tests. We don't need tests. Let's now look into the files. So I already created all necessary files. We have files controller, files repository, files service, and storage service, where we will do operations with our S3 bucket. So inside the controller we have 5 different roles. It's get files. It's just receive the user ID, and sends back all user files. We are sending files from database. So we have upload route. It's to upload one file. So we have upload route. It's to upload files less than 50 megabyte. So I decided that files less than 50 megabyte, I will upload a whole file. But if file more than 50 megabyte, I will make chunks and upload it by one. So each chunk will be 5 megabyte, and I will show you how this works. So I have another route called upload multipart. Here we uploading chunks of files. So basically we are making chunks in the front end. Each chunk will be 5 megabyte and uploading it by one to the backend. We have download. It will download the file, and we have delete. It will delete the file. So let's look into the file service. So here we have get files. It's basically getting files from database. Upload files. Yeah, here we have interaction with our storage. What we're doing here, we are taking the user ID and the file original name and creating a key. Key, it's basically the file name. So key is the basically path to the file. So it will be bucket name. Let's say bucket name, and after that key. So what we will have here, it will be files, our bucket called files, and it will be user ID, something like UID, something like this. And after that we will have file name. So let's call it test.png example. Yeah, this will be our file name. And buffer, it basically the file itself, and it will upload this to S3. After we upload this, we are taking the file information and saving it to our database, so creating new file in our database. So our file will be stored in S3 bucket, but information about our file will be stored in our database. So that way we can get that file anytime we want. The multi-part also similar. The only difference, we have many parts now. So we have to provide the upload ID. So how multi-part works? How multi-part works in S3? So there are steps. Step 1, we have 3 steps. Step 2, and we have step 3. So in the first step, you have to tell S3 bucket that you are starting multipart upload, start multipart upload. Step 2, it will be upload parts, and step 3 will be complete multipart upload. And when we starting our multipart upload, we don't need upload ID because we don't have that yet. After upload first part, S3 will give us upload ID, and for the next uploads, we have to provide the upload ID. Yeah, that's about upload ID. And we also have part number, so we know the part number. Frontend will send us the part number. Also, we have total parts. We have file name, we have type, we have size, and we basically uploading it this way. Okay, so next we are preparing file name, file type, and here we are checking if this part number equal to total parts. It means if this is the last part, then I will create the file in our database. If not, it's not yet creating. So I'm uploading all files. After upload finishes, I'm creating the new file in our database. And so if this is checks where if there is no file, it just throws an error. And after that, I'm using the upload multipart from storage. Okay, and I'm returning everything that all information I have, e-tag, metadata upload ID. So e-tag, metadata upload ID is all provided by S3. Okay, let's go down, and here another complicated topic. It's a download. So how you can download file? So you can ask S3 bucket to download object, and after that you have to use streams to download file to the front end. Basically, it also makes them, let's say, chunks, sends your chunks to the browser, and browser collect chunks, and basically this how download works. And here's the code. Yeah, so also we have delete. It's basically deletes the file from the database. Also it deletes the file from the storage. Yeah, and that's it. Now let's go to storage service and check what we have here. So in the storage service, we have to provide all information about our S3 bucket to create a S3 client. Basically, we have storage endpoint, storage port, storage username, and storage password. And this way we can create the S3 client. So region, it's a mandatory field, but you can set wherever you want, because I'm using localhost. And later when we deploy this, we also will check the region there. Yeah, upload object is just use the S3 function, put object command. So S3 client works this way. You creating a new class that doing action that you want, and basically using send method to use that command. You're using the class command that you want. For the upload object, I wanna use put object command, and I'm sending that command to S3 client, and it will upload my file. For the multi-upload, as I explained previously, what it does, it checks if this is a first part. If it's first part, it starts the multi-part upload and sets the upload ID. After that, if this is the second, if this is not first part, it uploads the file, and it checks if it is last part, it completes the upload, and that's it. If it's not coming to first part and last part, it always will upload the file, upload chunks of file, and if it's last, it basically sets this flag is complete to true, and it returns, it finishes the upload. Delete object also the same. I'm using delete command class and sending it to S3 client. This is the start multipart. I made another function for it. It also works the same way, creating command and sending that command. Upload part also the same. Upload part command, send complete multipart, same, creating a command and sending it to S3 client. List parts. We're not using this function yet. Let's see if we need that, we will use them. And also the download, it also creates commands and sends it. Get file, same thing. Okay, yeah, so that's about our files, and we need to wrap our files controller. Yeah, we will wrap the whole controller with JWT outward, and it will basically check the JWT token. And so this route also will be at files, API files. We had issue with these types, and it's gone after I installed types malter, and that issue is gone. So we have another issue. Let's run our application and see what other issues we have. We have issue in files controller. Let's look into that. Where is that? Yeah. So this can be response. Response should be from Express. Response export type response. Okay. Yeah. So another issue here is files module, well, NestJS module. Let's go to files module, and yeah, we have to add to provider storage service, also the Prisma service, because we are using the both services inside our files. I think now we're done with this backend. So we can't actually test it right now. We need to connect to our front end, and after that we can test. Also storage, I planned to install the Minayo to my local Docker, but after that it will take some time, and better we do it on the LowOps, because LowOps provides you the database and S3 bucket, and better do it there because it will be faster for us. Okay, now we completed the application. Basically, later we'll add few more things, but let's see how to deploy this application. So to make it live, I'll go to LowOps, and here I want to create new application. I will choose NestJS template. So you can override this template after we created it. So let's call it storage backend. And while it's creating, I need a Docker file to deploy this application. And I already have a Docker file I created with AI and added few things. So let me explain what it does. So we are using Node 22 Alpine, so it's the lightest image, and that's enough for us. I'm starting with a src app directory and I'm copying everything. After that, I'm installing all dependencies and I am setting database URL environment variable because this next command will not work if it's not there is no environment variable called database URL. I'm generating Prisma because for the build command to ask us Prisma types, so it's that for that. And so I have a multi-stage build. In the first step, I'm just building. In the second stage, I'm just copying everything I built inside my actual server. So I'm starting as a production. I'm also using the app directory and I'm setting non-env to production so the NestJS will understand is this a production. After I'm copying package JSON and package log JSON, I need only that for my production. And I am also installing everything, but this time I'm installing everything for production, so will not be dev dependencies. And I'm copying dist file and Prisma file from the build, exposing 80,000 port. So 80,000 port, it's a port that's supported by DevOps, and I'm running my application. So I'm running npm run start prod. So inside start prod, what I'm doing, I am again generating a Prisma types. I am applying all my Prisma changes to the database, and I'm running my application. So let's go and see, did our application finished? Yeah, it's finished. Let's see, the package is, yeah, so package is failing. Let's see what the problem. Yeah, so there's no Docker file. We have to have Docker file to deploy our app. And let's create an environment. And we can come here and we can copy this URL from the source tab, and this will be our remote URL for Git. Git remote at origin. Okay, this added. Let's check the origin. Okay, it's correct. Now let's add everything. Git commit. Let's say init and git push upstream origin main. And I want to force this because probably it will not work if I try to push to the main, because there's a different changes, so our history doesn't match. Let's force push, and it will remove all existing files and push these changes. Yeah, let's deploy this now because we already have, so we don't have packages, of course, and now we need wait for package to build. Let's wait. Okay, now we have a package, so it's built and it is success. So let's deploy this and see our app live. So one thing I want to explain here, I did remove the API prefix because so LOAPs run on Kubernetes and it have to have readiness probe. So readiness probe will take URL at the root. So Kubernetes will ping this root road and you have to return 200 for this. If not, so Kubernetes will assume that your application isn't working. So how I did it, I just add 2 roads to the app controller. It's a get and I'm returning just 200 with a status OK and message. And I also added the health road if it's needed. It's not really necessary. Let's now look at our app. It's deploying. Can we already see logs? Yes, we can see logs. Okay, there is an error. Okay, I think I know what the problem. So we don't have database URL environment variable, so we have to have that. Let's see. Okay, we actually have database URL, but it's not uppercase. So let's create database URL from. So if you open this, you will see we have database URL, and this is the all secrets to access your database in DevOps. We can basically copy this and come here, say database URL, put this value, make it sensitive, database URL string, and we need to redeploy it so it can take this variable. Okay, I redeployed the app and I can see it's running, and let's go to the URL, and yeah, so it is working. Our backend is live, and yeah, that's it. So we deployed two applications, storage backend and storage frontend, and in the next video we will connect these two apps